Warning: the Chaotic Culture Podcast is a program for mature audiences. The language and content presented in this podcast is of a mature nature that some audiences may not find suitable. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Okay, I'm reloaded.
Embrace the culture, blaze the doja, grab your loved ones and bring them closer. Extra, extra, read the poster, the KKP is taking over. Sleeping on me, better smell the Folgers. I've been razor sharp since the Motorola. Off the O, like the cover Oprah. Popping bottles, feet all in the sofa. It's a celebration, though the times is hard. It's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Cat the Pro, the one in charge, but it's a celebration. Times is hard, it's raining blessings, give it up to God. Chaotic culture, the greatest pod. With Cat the Pro, the one in charge.
We're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. 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 Oh, we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture.
At any rate, I forgot what I was about to ask about. I did want to ask, but I'll wait till you finish eating and whatnot.
I mean, you can still run about me. I'm listening.
Okay. Do you think that as far as like payments and whatnot, or as far as when NBA players or NFL players, as far as like them signing up for their salary and whatnot, that all of their salary is going to come in the form of Bitcoin or in the form of cryptocurrencies? As the I know one of the other players, you had told me he had like got his whole paycheck almost pretty much in Bitcoin. So, do you foresee that in the future? Actually speaking to the mic on that one.
Actually, yeah. I mean, we are progressing towards a future that is pretty much going to be electronic.
Okay.
And unless we continue to have these in-person settings where people are being taught and everything, there are going to be people that are going to succumb to electronic-based learning.
Word.
And this is was it Gen X or no, the boomers?
Oh, well, I mean, you got baby boomers, and you got Gen X, then you got us millennials, aka Gen Y, and then you got Gen Z behind us.
So you get what I'm saying? So as things continue to progress and expand, it's going to get to a point where, money will be digital. Now, that doesn't mean that physical cash won't be obsolete.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just mean that, those who still abide by physical cash are sitting there counting out $1 million in cash.
I got you. So we're turning into the digital age.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I figured as much while we were just talking here. I just figured we'd go ahead and start recording and whatnot. So, of course, the camera is already... Not the camera, goodness gracious. Like, we're not recording this thing, like, face-to-face just yet. But, of course, the audio track is recording right now. So, we're just going to go ahead and start. I'm going to let you, of course, enjoy your food, Law. Continue doing that real quick while I give the introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. I'm excited. It's crazy because this year, season 2, episode 18, and unofficially episode 39 of the entire Chaotic Culture Podcast, we have officially hit 1 year, June 2nd. It is our 1 year anniversary. Yes. We've made it. Oh my gosh. 1 year down. 1 year down. And we've come a long ass way since that first episode. From a technological standpoint to topic standpoint, we've come a long way. Still got a ways to go, still a very, very early and still very budding podcast, but we got a lot in store. This is not going to be the season finale because we got a couple more episodes to do before we get into the actual season finale and go into season 3. And at that point, we still got some things to take care of. So we are, we're going to continue making episodes until we can come to a good stopping point for season 2. That being said, if you are a first-time listener, welcome aboard. I appreciate you. I appreciate those who have subscribed through Anchor. We are going to get a Patreon so that way y'all can get off of Anchor and subscribe to the Patreon and keep the lights on. That is in the works as we speak. Of course, a visual will be added as well so that way everybody can see our beautiful and lovely smiling black beautiful faces. That is coming in the works as well. A lot of things. We got a lot of things planned. Just got to find the time to do them. Unfortunately, some of us work 10 hours in the day and... Yeah, as far as it's 9 to 5-ish, I mean, well, for me, 10 to 8. But it is what it is. It keeps my lights on. So we're going to make sure that in the future, we'll have all of our stuff together. And we'll have a team behind us that's supporting us. But for those of you who have been down since episode 1, I appreciate the listen here. I appreciate you continuously keeping up with us. I appreciate all that you have done just as a listener. Y'all have meant a lot to me and have kept me going even at times where I was like, do I really want to continue this podcast? Y'all continuously motivate me to continue putting out this content for y'all. So I'm going to keep doing that. We ain't stopping this train, man. I might as well go ahead and keep going and make this thing, something that I can invest in so that way I don't got to worry about clocking in and clocking out. But we'll get to that point when we get there. Anyway, once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy, the founder and creator of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. This is your boy, Ked the Pro, a.k.a. the Calculated Millennial, a.k.a. the Cut
Wanted because if not, don't be pushing all my buttons in my cutters unless you could.
The 843 is me, but doing it live from the 75. Once again, back in the building with the crew, the squad. We already know what time it is. I'm going to go ahead and introduce them, or I'll let them introduce themselves as always. Go ahead, NASA. Tell them what it is.
Y'all already know what's good. It's your girl NASA, aka Tony Noir, the female Picasso. Welcome to the station and good vibes only. Y'all already know. How have y'all been?
I've been good. I can't complain. I cannot
No complaints over here. I know. None. I can't complain.
At all. Next, as always, the first mate of the pod, my boy Law. Go ahead, introduce yourself, sir.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Law.
Run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up, run it up.
Let's run it up. But yeah, just to contribute to that whole good wave vibe. Yes, I can't complain.
Yeah.
Life's been treating me well. I just had some food, so I'm really good. You know what I'm saying? Stomach tight. I feel a little bit better. But
That's weird.
I just had some Panda Express. And they come with fortune cookies, so I'm gonna tell y'all my fortune.
Uh-oh.
It says, you are a bundle of buzzing energy, always on the go. Panda Express.
I mean,
I'm not gonna hold you. That makes sense.
You're a buzzing ball of energy. Is that what it said? Buzzing ball.
Yes, a buzzing ball of energy.
I mean, I don't think that's a lie at all. You know,
if you look back, drum energy.
Yeah.
Sticky.
Mm-hmm.
Just in my, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In my regular everyday, I was always energetic and happy.
Indeed.
I enjoyed the good times and was there to produce them / continue them. So
Yes, sir. Yep. You know what? That actually perfectly describes you of all the things that you've done since you've got here. So you know what? That's actually a pretty good fortune. Just keep up the energy. You know, especially what you got going on now and whatnot, and the stuff that you got going on in the future, which we ain't gonna speak on. I'll let him tell it whenever he gets ready to tell it. But the future plans that this man got set up, you know, just be on the lookout for that. Alrighty. All right. So I just
bad not to take away to you.
no.
But like, yeah. I'm excited to see what Chaotic Culture does past this 1 year.
Yeah.
Like to think that we are here 1 year later.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that speaks volumes.
Right.
We've all grown in different aspects of our journey in just 1 year.
Yep.
I have so much knowledge from 1 year ago.
Mm-hmm. Likewise.
There's so many things that like I'm truly excited to see come to fruition. Like it gives me goosebumps, and I don't have them now, but like there have been times when I'm sitting here thinking about what could be and the things to come. Man, I can only be grateful and thankful.
Hey man, that's all of that. That's what it's about, honestly, man. For one, if you did not learn anything from this past year, then you obviously selling yourself short. That's the important thing, is that each of us sitting here have gained something, whether it was from this podcast or whether it was just in our daily lives. We were able to learn and build upon what we were working on, especially starting a podcast in the middle of a pandemic, not knowing what tomorrow was going to bring, especially in the middle of a Black Lives Matter movement at the same time. It was just a lot of stuff going on, and we were just like, yo, this is the perfect time that we can create a space and talk about these issues.
For real, do we have time to recap? Like,
I mean, we could definitely
I mean, we can make it for the next episode. We do like a part 2.
I think we should do like a little recap part 2, but not on this episode, but on the next episode.
Yeah. And even if
look, for real, because you know you can edit, you can take this out and just continue on. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. And in all honesty, I mean, I'm trying to think of all the, not just the stuff that happened this past year, but like if you go back to episode 1 and where we are now and all the shit that we talked about, it's just crazy to see how far that we've come. From it starting off with just me and Law to adding Nasa to the mix, and the different interviews that we've had with different people, whether it was over Zoom or whether they've come and sat in the couch. It's been an excellent experience. I will say that, is there anything specifically on this podcast, it could be any episode or any talk through, whatever, is there anything on this podcast that really stuck out for you guys, you know, when it came to doing this? And you can just speak from the heart or speak from your mind, whatever the case may be.
I wouldn't say there was anything that really stuck out, but just having the ability to, in the space, to just be honest and try to just express your own opinions has really just been the best part. Because I know for me, I'm antisocial as hell. I don't go out. So, you know, being around folks that, you know, good people, and just being able to have this moment and just to share our thoughts and share our opinions without judgment, I feel has personally been the best part about it.
Okay.
So
Word. Law, you got anything?
I can definitely piggyback off of that. I like to move at my own moderation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like for real, like I appreciate y'all because y'all have given me a sense of structure when it comes to actually being about being there for something. Podcasting is something different because also like I don't want to say I'm a recluse, but meeting up and talking about what's on my mind at the time or over the thought of a week or a month, that's real. And like I sit back and I listen back to the episodes and I can hear my own growth, and I can also see where maybe I can better myself in some aspects.
Word. For me, it goes all the way back to episode 1, where again we went from having 2 USB mics and us having to pass the mic around and share with other people to actually having a set of XLR mics that's actually being used with an interface now. And from a technological standpoint, this place has grown, this space has grown, but just me in general learning how to channel my inner thoughts to make sure that they are expressed in a manner that I want to express them in over this platform. Just seeing how we were talking about not only just community reactions to the things going on, but also our love for music, and seeing that progress all the way to now, and then the different things that we're talking about as well. The different guests that we've had, and each guest that we've had, of course, has made an impression on me one way or the other. And I just hope that, each guest that has been here was able to at least share that information. And I've noticed sometimes a lot of people who listen don't really want to listen to guests, but I have to tell them, I'm like, sometimes that guest could provide a bit of information that I'm not familiar with. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the housing market because, granted, I know a little bit about the housing market, but somebody else knows way more than I do who's actually working in that. Somebody like Law, I know about, Bitcoin and crypto, and as well as even the Forex, but Law is invested in that, so he would be more, able to talk about it than I would. When it comes to music, especially R&B, that's why NASA, you were able to lend your voice to that portion better than I could. Because granted, I was involved in music, but I'm not I ain't gonna say that I'm a singer because I can't hold a tune. I was, goodness gracious. I'm like, now I have to correct myself. Like, well, I can't say that I'm not a singer because yes, I do sing, but that is not my specialty. I've been involved in musical theater for who knows how long, but as far as me getting on the mic and putting out a body of work, that is not my ministry. That is particularly yours, Nasa. So, and then just having the different guests that come in and pour into this actual space has been nothing short of amazing, and has been nothing short of a blessing, because, I could be knowledgeable about something, but I want somebody else to come in and share their knowledge of it as well, so that way I will be better informed, and hopefully my audience will be better informed. There's a reason why we call this chaotic culture, because it's just we're surrounded by nothing but a bunch of chaos, especially if you're in the black community, and we have to find ways to learn and grow, in the midst of all that chaos, and become better people for it. Will we cover everything? Maybe not. Are we going to be knowledgeable about everything? Also, maybe not. But it's up to us to at least be sure that we begin these conversations and at least talk about what's going on, so that way we can do the research ourselves and know that that's going to eventually benefit us when we get to a certain point in our lives. So, I know I kind of rambled on about that, but still, this is what this space is for, and it's not going to be serious all the time either. Like,
episodes.
And I think that's the good thing about it, is that we don't take it too serious.
Mm-hmm.
This is supposed to be a safe space. This is supposed to be a good space where it's just, it's not politically correct, but it's, it's still having that
right on time.
Right
Right.
on time. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And regardless of it's, as we said, if it's politically correct or not, we can always at least interject our own opinions and correct ourselves if we feel as though, okay, wait a minute, let me provide you some information so that way we can at least shape our opinion better. That's why we're all here, man. I'm truly blessed to have y'all both in here because I didn't know what the hell was about to happen. I'm trying, mama, I'm trying, but I didn't know what the hell was about to happen when I was, had this idea to start it. I'm just like, dang, I need a co-host and whatnot. I need to find like who was I going to go off of? Like, was it just gonna be me by myself? And of course, there are solo episodes out there where it's just me spitting and whatnot, but I needed that vibe, and I'm like, dang, who can I rely on? And of course, Law. I was like, man, let me get Law on here, man. We had good conversation. Let's go ahead and let's start and see what we could talk about. And then Nasa just kind of floated her way over here. And so it
made sense though,
right.
You know what I'm saying, in the aspect of R&B and everything music. She was right on key. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she was telling me so much stuff. I was just like, dang, that's right on time, yo.
Right.
She expanded what I was listening to, them different artists, all on top of her own music.
Yeah, definitely right on time. And she, it was needed. The voice was needed because I can't say that in the back of my head, I always thought, I would like to have, a black woman to share her voice on this podcast, and regardless of what capacity. So even if it's 5-10 years down the line and, somebody else is doing this shit, I always wanted to be sure that I have, a black woman do it. I would hope that regardless of where we are, because I'm working on Discord right now. So in the event that all of us just decide to leave Hampton and just split and go somewhere else, we can at least stay in contact with each other, and then we'll have that space where we can still communicate, because I've noticed a lot of podcasts have been doing that, especially some of the anime podcasts. You got, Worst Gen, Panda is in Mississippi, but GB, the creator, he's all the way in Arizona. His cousin, who I marched with, Warren, he's in Pittsburgh. And then you got people in Dallas, so they're everywhere, but they still at least get a chance to come together and do a platform. So that's something that I have been thinking about and hope to bring it to fruition once we get to that point. But in the meantime, we'll sit on the couch and chill and talk shit. So
I just feel like I personally feel like this is something that is definitely gonna grow. Where we're at right now, this is our training grounds. Yep. I remember I did an interview with a producer one time, and it was just for a little story time. Like, we did a little I had to do the interview for like a music business class, and he was just like, the biggest competition that you're gonna have is either someone with credentials or somebody with experience. And we're building that experience, we're building those credentials, and I think that as we manifest in the things that we want to do, this will continue. I definitely believe that this will continue. We'll just get bigger as more and more people catch on and listen to it. Definitely.
Speaking of which, Dr. Jones had sent me a notification that somebody was looking for like a podcast creator for one of the podcasts for under A&E, and I almost applied. The only reason why I didn't is just that I ran out of time. I was trying to get, because I honestly did not get a chance to put this on my resume, and I'm just like, shit. So I'm sitting there going back trying to put it all, and at that point the position was closed. I'm like, man, fuck. But I was like, you know what? It's not that I didn't waste the opportunity. It's just things happened so quickly, and then once I got a chance to do it, I realized I was missing something. So to have to go back and try to fit everything into that small resume, and I may have to just get I may have to have like the small resume for corporate America, but then for something like that, have the longer resume that shows, hey, that I'm also doing this on the side. So that way, yes, have that ready to go, so that way I could go ahead and shoot it off. But after talking to him, he's also looking for somebody who was doing this for like 2 or 3 years, and obviously I'm just 1 year in, so it's like, all right, I'll be back. I'll be when it comes around again. I'm gonna be back, and I'm gonna have more experience under my belt as well as the credentials. So that way, when you look at my resume and when you check out my podcast, you'll be like, oh, this nigga know what he doing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a journey that I'm glad that I started. It does take a lot of work, and hopefully we can get a team behind us that will be able to handle some of the other stuff, because trying to run 3 pages, trying to run, create episodes, trying to make flyers, and then on top of that, trying to get everything set up as far as like a Patreon and, try to get some Nelia started. That it does take a toll on your body. So,
I was saying always, I'm here to help. Outside of a co-host, it goes deeper than that. If you need help with anything, you always ask upon me. Just
I make it when
let me know so I plan it out.
Yes, sir. I make it.
That's one thing that I've been working on here in the last couple months is organizing myself so that things are more fluent. And sticking to a plan will get a better result as opposed to just winging it day by day.
That's real. And with that, I may try to get your help on running one of the pages, but then also we definitely got to find somebody to design this Nelia that I have an idea for. Like, I want these shirts, I want these.
Well, what about a young lady that did the business card? Because that card is fire.
You know what? I could talk to Erin about that. I'm gonna ask if she does designs for shirts, because I know that she does graphic design, and yet, as you said, like, she did the design for the cards. I just have to ask, like, because I know that she normally, from what I've seen, it's been majority business cards and posters. But I'll ask, like, if she can make a few designs for graphic tees, and then at that point, if she does, great, I can use her services, and then try to find someone to print out the T-shirts and whatnot.
And we're gonna talk off air about some other things that I think that we should do.
Okay.
Man, we got to tap into this marketing side.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it. We didn't talk about the growth of this podcast. There's some other, some short range topics that we definitely want to get to. I definitely want to discuss some music that has recently come out. The first being J. Cole's album.
Let's talk about it.
She's ready to talk about it.
Let's talk about the J. Cole. All right, let's talk about applying pressure.
Okay. So, as far as the entire project, the off season, what is everybody's thoughts?
All honestly, I thought it was a very decent project. See, I gotta go to the list because I don't remember it off bat, but I will definitely say, of course, him on applying pressure. Of course, that was it just seems like it was a given on that one. He would just go the fuck off on that one. Let's see. I am a really big fan of the climb back. I am a fan of course, applying pressure. I'm a fan of let go of my hand with Black. Overall, I think that this is still a solid J. Cole album.
Yeah, this is definitely along the lines of his basketball thing, that he had going with.
You know what? I really do feel that too. Like, this was just kind of like this had to have been planned. Yeah. This had to have been planned. Like, okay, I'm going to drop the off season, fly to Rwanda real quick, play a couple games, and then make it back. Like, it had to have been a whole part of the ordeal of the off season. Because he only played like 2 games.
Yeah, like 2 or 3.
2 or 3 games, and he was like, yeah, my contract's done. I'm heading back home. Yeah, the off season. Right? I get it, Cole. I get it. Period.
I will say, for me, some of my favorites, of course, were 95 South. Like, just the way that he opened the album. Y'all can say what y'all want about that Luigi bar, but I still thought that was.
That was clever.
I was like,
oh,
clever.
And it was very clever.
Yeah. So, of course, that was one of my favorites. Of course, My Life with 21 Savage. Him and 21 have great chemistry.
Let me tell you.
I like the unlock of like mental stimulation that those two give up. You know what I'm saying? They don't talk about things that are heavy in subject, but like they're thinkers. They're think pieces that would have you to like think, how could you as your own being progressively make it better, you know?
I will say the transition between Baby and Cole, that was
you talking about on Pride is the Devil?
Yes, that was
very, very smooth.
Very well executed. Yeah. Very well executed, because at first I thought it was still Cole for a minute. I was like, oh wait. Wait a minute.
There was a TikTok video of it. This dude was listening, and then when Baby jumped on, he was like,
hold the hell up.
What the hell going on? And he start jamming again, like,
I literally did the same thing. I was like, hold up. That's not Cole.
Yeah.
That's not Cole. That's not Cole.
Yeah, and speaking of Lil Baby, I've actually grown to like him as an artist now. Like, there was one point I was kind of like, on Lil Baby, but he's grown on me a lot. So, and that just speaks to his talent and the way that he can entertain. So, I definitely appreciated that track. Of course, Applying Pressure. That you know, Cole was just showing his ass on that one. I think overall, the project itself, when you have tracks that where he closes at, because I think the interlude was a little too far towards the end, just in my humble opinion. I thought that maybe the interlude could have gone before Pride is the Devil, because then you only got 3 songs after the interlude, and then that's the entire project. So
yeah, I would say once you hear the interlude, you just like, you listening for another 4 or 5 songs, and you don't get but 3. So it's just like,
yep.
I see what you did there, sir. Deluxe.
Deluxe.
Possibly. And then there's also still the opportunity for him to drop The Fall Off, which is supposed to be his next big project, or his final project. Whenever that may be.
I'm gonna be sad if he just stops making music, because I'm just like, Cole, we need you, son.
Yeah, well,
we need you, just like we need Kendrick, but he in hiding right now. So,
but it's also proving the point of, why put my genius and my art out in a space that it isn't going to be reciprocated in love? You know, I'm getting emotional just saying that, because it's just like a lot of things with myself is clicking. But I can see how, as an artist, the things that you have put so much passion, time, and energy into,
it's not reciprocated.
It doesn't get reciprocated.
It doesn't get reciprocated. And I'll piggyback on that one, because like, as an artist, like, it is very difficult, because you expect, you know, I know for my first 2 projects, I was expecting a lot. Like, I was expecting like so much energy and a lot of like feedback, and
I feel that deep.
Like, I was trying to get a lot. I was excited and I had everything planned, but once it dropped, you know, I got the feedback, but it wasn't what I expected it to be. I didn't get the follow-ups. I didn't get the increase in follows. I didn't get the crease in, you know, certain stuff. So obviously I had to do the work. But with these artists that, you know, put so much time and effort, and I'll use Tiana Taylor as an example, because she just recently, I wouldn't say she retired, but she took a step back. And I completely agree with her, to the sense it's just like, I'm giving, and I'm constantly giving, and I'm constantly showing and putting what I have out there and putting what I am capable of doing, but it's not acknowledged. It's not accepted. It's not even, it's
overlooked.
It's overlooked.
Undervalued.
When so much passion and desire, and it's so sad that more people will accept quantity versus quality.
Microwave.
Exactly, the whole microwave scenario, the whole microwave, like, people are quick to do the whole microwave and put the shit in the microwave, okay? But no one wants to take the time and put their music, take the time, they put their stuff in the oven and allow it to marinate and allow it to do what it needs to do. No one wants to do that. So then we come to this, and then we come to these situations where the artists that are putting out the quantity are getting more notoriety, are being more noticed than the ones that are putting out quality. You don't hear too many people. You don't hear too much about the people who are putting out quality. You hear them like once they put out the quality, it's there for maybe about a couple weeks, maybe about a month or two, and then they diminish. But then you hear everything under the sun of the person who's just giving just constantly quantity and doing this, that, and the third, and not really putting passion behind it. That's so frustrating. And it's just like, sometimes I have had to ask myself, I was just like, will I be successful? Will I make it? Will I have that? Will the reciprocation and the acknowledgement be made? Because a lot of the stuff that I write is coming from a true place. It's coming from a real place. Not to say that any other artist who is putting out music is not, their shit is not coming from a real place, but I know for myself that this is actually like stuff that I've actually had to think about, stuff that I had to like really put in my mindset and be like, all right, how can I express this in a way that's going to be relatable to the next person, and how is it going to be received well?
That's real. That
it takes a lot out of it. That definitely does take a lot out of a person.
Yeah, I feel that. Especially like for artists, I would just say this. I would hope that, you know, those who put in a lot of effort, from what I've seen, if you're a really good artist and you put in like your heart and your soul and a lot of effort into this work, I can see that from when they eventually do reap the benefits, it actually, there is more positive than there is negative, because I feel as though those artists who really put in the work and, you know, are focusing more on the quality of the work as opposed to just putting any old thing out, their legacy lasts longer.
So much, but that is very much true. That is definitely true. Like the ones, you know, one thing my mom always told me is think about longevity. And I know that the artists that are constantly putting out quality, they're thinking about longevity.
Right.
Like it may not be hip right now. It may not click right now, but sooner or later it will. And it's going to have that longevity for years on out. Right. And so like, you know, I personally would say like I definitely feel Lawrence on a strong note, because there's been definitely times where I've sat, I'm just like, what is there to write about? Like, what is there to write about? What is there to sing about? Because everything is not moving how it needs to move. Nothing's going how it's supposed to go, and the reciprocation and the acceptance of it is not. It's not being fully accepted. It's not being fully understood. So it kind of puts a definitely a strong discouragement on you, because just like, all right, what's the point? You know.
And that's really real. And just so that I can interject, and not even from a music standpoint, but just for doing this podcast, there'll be times where I'm like, man, what is there to talk about, or what can I talk about? And sometimes the energy just isn't there, and I have to make sure that I, you know, try to refocus and make sure that I'm giving my best, because there are times that, you know, even after having multiple talks, there are times where I can get discouraged because one episode will get like a lot of listens and I'm just like, yes, we're heading in the right direction. And then I put it on another episode the next week and maybe only 20 or 30 listens. And I'm just like, damn, that kind of hurts, you know, because this episode did this, but this episode, and we're talking about some important shit, it ain't going nowhere. Like, what the hell? So it can get really, really, really frustrating at times, especially when you've put out a quality episode or a quality body of work and it is not appreciated and is undervalued, you know, despite how much work you put into it. That being said, you know, I feel as though if you continue to do it at your own pace, obviously, but make sure that you take your time, you know, put in the quality, but take your time doing it, so that way, as your mom said, you don't think about longevity. I know we kind of rag on Kendrick about this, but if you look at the space between Kendrick's projects,
there's quality in each of his projects.
Yes.
My goodness. That man puts quality in his shit.
Exactly.
I will vouch for Kendrick. Like, whenever you're ready, sir.
If you actually listen to what he's saying, Especially if it, what was the project?
To Pimp a Butterfly.
To Pimp a Butterfly.
Whichever song had like the interlude in it where like he was crying on mic, like one can only imagine based upon everything heard before that what he was going through.
Oh yeah, that was the track.
Like, you could actually feel his sense of release with whatever it is that was burdening him at that time. And so like when we sit here and talk about like the content of a body of work, like to connect and to, you know, be out of the matrix, as I call it, because right now we're living in the matrix of waking up every day, living through this panorama. And you know, y'all get what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
So to like really break down and to feel something for once, like I stepped outside and felt that it was chilly, but like I actually felt the sun, if that makes sense. Like the sun ray coming down on my face and smelling the fresh air. Like I'm not gonna say I felt anew, but like I actually took a second and enjoyed nature for what it was.
To appreciate it for what it was.
You know?
Yeah.
So like,
and sometimes I feel like we all need to just step back and appreciate things for what they are.
Music gotta come back to that though.
Music does have to come back to that. It does, and that's what I feel like that's why I'm so appreciative of the R&B scene. Not to say anything about hip hop, because of course, you know, I'm a lover of hip hop as well. But there was just something about when, you know, like the earlier artists would just put a live instrument and just there wasn't too much technicality. It was just like what is expressed, and you felt that. And maybe every song, and maybe a riff, or you know, just the instruments playing, you felt something of what that person was going through, or what that person was trying to convey. And so if we can get back to the point where we're not complicating things but still being able to get the message across, I think that we'll be at a much better space, because everything is just so fast now.
Yeah,
that's real.
Everything is just so fast.
Yep. Not to, because we did kind of get sidetracked. We're just talking about, you know, what it means to put out, you know, quality. Just so that way we all have our ratings still. For the J. Cole album itself, the off season, it felt more, for me, it felt like not an album per se. It kind of felt more like he was getting ready to put out another body of work. So
do you feel like this was kind of like the pre-content before the content?
That's what I think. That being said, it was still a quality project. It's not J. Cole's best, but it was still very good quality. I think the only body of work that he put out that I was kind of like on was For Your Eyes Only. But then understanding the context of For Your Eyes Only, it was like, okay, I get it. Still but for this particular album or project that he dropped, I'm gonna give it I'm gonna say 7.75. Not quite 8, but it's teetering on that level.
All right, so can I give context to that?
Yeah.
If we're looking at the timestamps, Cold World, The Sideline was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Born Center was 2013.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 2-year time span.
Yep.
Then for
Forest Hills Drive,
you had 2013 with Born Center, 2014 Forest Hills, and then 2016 that was For Your Eyes Only. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that was 2 years that he dropped projects back to back,
right,
and then took another year in between the next. So he's being meticulous with what he's doing as like in his artistry. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And you look forward and you say Truly Yours by J. Cole, and then KOD being in 18. So that was 17, 18 back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And then he took, what was it, 3 years?
3 years just about before he dropped the off season. Not including, of course, the stuff he did with Dreamville, obviously. But
you know what I'm saying? So like, his own embodiment is in itself what it's gonna be.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He's taking his time, and so like we sit here waiting on Kendrick, but like
Look,
Kendrick
when Top
is the
Dog,
Cole of the West Coast.
Yeah,
Top Dog
made the
that
announcement. I knew it was.
I
gonna
thought
be
it was going to be Kendrick.
I knew it was
Damn
gonna be Zay.
Damn, Isaiah Rashad. Like, don't get me wrong, I love me some Isaiah, but Kendrick, we're waiting.
Yeah, everybody was speculating, oh, it's gonna be Kendrick.
Waiting.
I'm like, it's gonna be Zay, because Zay hadn't dropped some music in a while either, so it's gonna be Zay. I think Kendrick is gonna be, when Kendrick drops, Top Dog and Punch aren't going to make the announcements, because when Kendrick dropped Damn, a couple weeks before that, he dropped the track himself saying, okay, this is when y'all need to get y'all shit together, and then that next week he said, this is when my album's dropping.
Period.
And so I think Kendrick will announce it himself, or just maybe he just won't announce it. But it just depends.
Pop
But
up.
yeah,
Just pop up out of nowhere.
yeah.
Be
But
like, when the hell did Kendrick?
exactly. To your comment, Law, when we look at Kendrick's projects, not counting the Kendrick Lamar EP, I'm going strictly from Overly Dedicated. So from OD, Overly Dedicated dropped 2010, and then immediately after that, Section 80. A year and a half later, Good Kid, Mad City. 2.5 years later, To Pimp a Butterfly, and then 2 years later, Damn. So he's very meticulous when it comes to his work. And obviously in 2018 he dropped the Black Panther album. That was more of a not a OST, because it wasn't really the soundtrack for the movie itself, with a couple of songs obviously, but he still dropped that based off the movie album, which not included just him but other artists as well. So I really don't consider that his actual discography. And then if we really want to be meticulous, Untitled and Unmastered, which were the B-sides for To Pimp a Butterfly, he dropped that in 2016. So yeah, he's very meticulous about his work, and he takes his time. So I think the main reason why he's doing what he has to do for this whatever this next project may be is, one, not only because he wants to put in quality work, but he's trying to figure out how can he top those last two albums, because To Pimp a Butterfly, just the actual context behind the album and the material packed into that album was so deep and so heavy. And then you got Damn, which was more hip-hop friendly, but still packed a lot of content into that album, to the point where the man you can debate whether he should have gotten the Pulitzer for To Pimp a Butterfly as opposed to Damn, but he still won a Pulitzer for Damn, and he still was the first rap artist to ever win a Pulitzer, because most times those Pulitzer prizes go to a jazz or a classical album, and as far as I know, his is the only hip-hop album to have ever received that award, because I haven't heard of any other hip-hop album getting that since then. So he's trying to figure out a way to top that. On top of that, he just had a daughter, so obviously he wants to be a father, and he's trying to focus on raising his daughter, and wants to spend time with his family. And if you've listened to any of Kendrick's albums, you know how invested he is in his family, from his mom and pops to his homies to his own sister and her children. So he's really invested in his family. So I think that's really what is taking him a long time to get to it. But that's for me personally, I think take your time and enjoy your family, because this is who you were doing it for to start. Right. So by all means, please, I know it's been 4 years since you last dropped, but still,
we need you. We need you to spit like flames on.
Right. I'm hoping like this next shit, you better be like, oh, I'm coming out yappas in hand, just all right. That being said, we're gonna take a quick break, guys. Do not move. We shall return. This message is brought to you by Already Paid. Already Paid is more than a brand. It's a lifestyle. Where else can you find the richest quality apparel for the lowest price? Shop with us at foreverap.com and join the already paid family, or find our black-owned business located at Stony Point Mall in Richmond, Virginia. You can also follow us at AP Styles, that's APSTYLSS, on Instagram. Be you. Get paid. Forever. And we're back. So, when we last left off, of course, we were just finished talking about J. Cole's album. And, you know, we had a nice little riveting conversation about that. Before we continue on with the episode, of course, we are going to go to our podcast mates segments. So, Nas, anything for Nas's Corner?
I was going to say there's nothing for Nas's Corner, but yes, there is something for Nas's Corner. I just had to place this on my heart. So yesterday, I was listening to this song called Be Encouraged by Joshua's Troop.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never heard of them, they are a very great gospel choir to listen to, just
Yes,
a
they
gospel
are.
group in general. So definitely check them out. But this song particularly says, like, just be encouraged, my brother. You just hold on. Your breakthrough's on its way, so don't be dismayed. He knows your problems and he'll answer your prayers, and he'll never give you more than you can bear. So just as a message and just as a sincere thought, just please stay encouraged. Whatever your ambitions are, whatever your dreams are, just stay focused on those and always keep yourself encouraged. So that's that on that on Nas's Corner.
Word. Definitely check out Joshua's Troop. I love that choir. I love that whole entire singing group. I don't have enough songs by them. I need to go back and add some more songs to my gospel playlist, because I was just reminded of a song that we used to sing all the time when I was part of the teen choir at my church. Ran this song into the ground, but and it's Clap Your Hands.
Yes.
Yeah, like
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ran that into the ground.
I
But we
feel
sang it like it was, you know, brand new every Sunday. Well, every Sunday that the teen choir sang it. But I was just like, bro, I'm tired of singing Clap Your Hands. I love Joshua's Troop, but we singing this too much. Can we get another, you know, song? But anyway,
definitely check that song out. It'll get you pumped up. It'll get you ready to go. The words are very inspiring. They're encouraging. Be encouraged, the period. So,
word. Law, you got anything for Good Job Lawrence that you can think of? I know we was talking about a little bit in the beginning, so I didn't want to know if you wanted to add anything to that.
I think that was it, bro.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Well, so now that we've got the segments out of the way, just to get in a little bit of anime talk, real quick, just wanted to refresh everybody. I have finished Skate the Infinity. If you like skateboarding, if you were one of those people who used to watch the X Games like I did when I was a kid, or play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater on PS1 and PS2 non-stop, this is a series for you. It definitely felt real nostalgic for me. Granted, the anime itself isn't maybe but a year old, but Skate the Infinity is well worth it. It's got a good storyline behind it, a nice little slice of life anime. It does have some shonen aspects to it. So it's treated like a sports anime. So because of that, I found it on Funimation. It should be on Crunchyroll, but it was on Funimation last time I checked. Both the Japanese and the English simulcast was presented. So, yeah, definitely check out Skate the Infinity. I am still working on Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm almost finished, but I'm still doing some work on that one. Let's see. Is there anything else?
JJK is fire.
I told you, bruh. Me and Panda was like, yo, you got to watch it, bruh. It is gas. Like, if you have not seen Jujutsu Kaisen, I implore you,
it's
watch.
so good. I've watched the first episode like 4 times.
Damn.
Just to make sure that like I didn't miss anything.
I got you. Yeah, sometimes if you're not paying attention, you might miss something because it's a lot of world building and a lot of different themes regarding curse techniques build upon each other. So especially when you get to the manga, bro, some crazy shit. But anyway, definitely check out JJK. I just updated on the manga episode. Chapter 150 came out. Also chapters, I can't remember the number, but the latest chapter of My Hero Academia, chapter 314, I believe. So it is 314. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 314. So yeah, I just checked out the latest chapter of that. Lady Nagat is some gas. Her matchup with Deku right now is crazy, but I'm not gonna drop any spoilers. I'll let y'all check it out and enjoy it because My Hero Academia is definitely, you know, it's the whole plot just got incredibly dark as the series progressed. So definitely check it out. As far as NBA talk real quick, just to go over those who have not. As of Monday, Memorial Day, the Heat have been swept out of the playoffs by the Bucks. I know, man. I know. I like Jimmy Butler, but just to see him go down the way that he did was absolutely tragic. As far as what else is happening on the East, right now we're in the middle of watching the Wizards and the Sixers. The Wizards are trying to avoid getting swept. We'll see what happens when Wednesday pops up. The Suns and Lakers are tied. The two games apiece. The Clippers and the Mavericks are tied 2 games apiece. Shout out to the Clippers, man, from coming back down 0-2 to tie the series up, winning both games in Dallas. Simply, whatever they did, whatever Ty Lue did to change up his matchups and change up his roster, he did that. ATL is leading against. There you go again. ATL is leading the Knicks 3-1. I really wanted the Knicks to kind of do something because I like Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose has been my favorite player ever since he was with Chicago, and I want to see him win. I don't think he'll break through today, or at least in this series, because Atlanta's just too good, and the Knicks don't have enough firepower to stop them. Julius Randle, I'm looking at you, bro. You playing like absolute trash this series. But I'm trying to think what else is happening. The Nets are up on the Celtics 3-1. So I think that completes the East. And even though I named it like a couple teams in the West, there's that. I said the Suns and Lakers are tied. The Clippers and Mavs are tied. I'm trying to think of anybody else on the West. Right now, the Jazz are up on the Grizzlies 2-1. They play game 4 tonight. And I'm missing a West series. I know I am. The Nuggets and the Blazers. I think the Blazers are up, if I'm not mistaken now. The last game that they played, they trashed the Nuggets. Like, it wasn't funny at one point. Like, yo, what happened? Hang on. I'm gonna find it. Because I know that the Blazers won the last game, but I don't know what the series looks like. Shoot. Let's look at scores. And let's go to tomorrow. Okay, so that series is tied 2 games apiece as well. So, yeah, looking like a very, very tight West situation. All the games in the West seem to be like they might go to 6 games, except for maybe that Jazz and Grizzly series, depending on how the night goes. The East is more solidified. Milwaukee is waiting on the next opponent. We still got Philly trying to sweep the Wizards, and we'll see what happens with the other 2 series. But it's looking like the only real competitive series out of the East. I don't even know if there was a competitive series because I'm trying to think. Like the Heat got swept. The Wizards are about to get swept if they don't hold on. The Celtics are down 1-3, and
everybody holding on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. And then on the other, I said the Celtics. Oh, and then the Knicks are down. So yeah, everybody in the East is just kind of like, okay, well we kind of figure what the next round is gonna look like, but the West is the one that's really competitive. And so either way, there's that. Just a couple of things that have happened in the culture as of late, not just in black culture, but just around the world. You all know what's going on with the situation with Israel and Palestine. I just want us to just be cognizant and be aware of that. When we get to another episode, we'll talk about that more in depth, because there's just a lot of nuance to that. You know, we don't want to say anything anti-Semitic on here, you know, because that's not what we feel. That being said, we do know that Israel's leadership, I know me personally, I have a problem with Israel's leadership. I don't have any problem with Jewish people or Israelis or any of that. God knows I don't. But as far as their current leader, Netanyahu, I have major problems with that dude. But that being said, for those who are involved, I believe a ceasefire has been put in place. But and if I'm wrong, then damn. But I'm definitely praying for all of the Palestinians out there, those who have been suffering, especially the children that we've lost who are young Palestinians. Like it's crazy when children get involved either way, but whole families have been displaced, their homes destroyed, they've lost families, they've lost people. So please, 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 if you are praying people, keep them in prayer, and then stay in prayer for those Jewish folk who are still suffering attacks just because of what's going on overseas that has nothing to do with the ones that are in America or everywhere else. You have those who actually support Palestinians, and for those who do, we appreciate your love. Well, they appreciate your love, I'm sure, and we just ask that you continue fighting with them. That being said, if you are participating in any anti-Semitic attacks against Jewish people, kindly go fuck yourself. That's all I'm going to say on that. That leads me to the crazy cuckoo bird that calls herself a congresswoman. I'm talking about Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. Fuck her 2 ways to hell. That is a crazy psycho. I don't mean to use this word, but she is a bitch. You will never hear me call a woman that ever again, except for her. I don't like using that word, but I had to throw it out there. Like, for what she said against Jewish people, what she has been doing to antagonize AOC in Congress, what she's been doing to antagonize the entire Congress in general, she's worse than Trump, in my opinion. And it is, I don't know how to put it in perspective, but just seeing her in a position of power, knowing that people actually voted for her and still will, despite the fact that she's said anti-Semitic remarks, she's had Islamophobia remarks, and pretty much anything that is not far right wing has a problem with her. So that being said, I can't stand her, but that's another topic for another discussion. Georgia, get it together. That's all I'm gonna say. Get it together. I can go on about all these the voting laws that are coming out right now as well. It's a big, very sad day. Yeah, thank you, Texas Democrats, for actually walking out so that way that bill wouldn't get passed. You stopped the quorum from forming. Now your governor, Mr. I'm trying to think of a funny ass nickname for that dude, because that's the wheelchair
I'm just really
governor.
confused with these laws. I'm just confused. Like, sir, you ain't never gonna make a okay, like the law that just recently passed. I think it was it in Tennessee? Or
it might be. I was gonna say they plenty, because I know Georgia passed a law. Texas is trying to pass a law. Florida passed the laws.
I think no, it wasn't in Tennessee. I think it was the one in Georgia. But either way, the law basically states that at 6 weeks, a mother cannot abort.
Oh, you're talking about the abortion law. Oh, ooh.
A mother cannot abort. Now, as a woman, I would really, really like to say, stop telling women what to do with their bodies. Not only are you not able to care for one, but you're not able to carry one.
Mm-hmm.
So, not only that, like every woman's body is extremely different. So you can't just expect somebody to just know exactly at 6 weeks. And most women just know at 6 weeks when they're pregnant.
Sorry, trying to
So
stuff
it's
my
just
face.
like
and whatnot.
it's a lot of it's just really confusing because it's just like
Well,
like I'm not like yeah, y'all just gotta stop. Like just gotta stop doing that.
sorry, I'm trying to finish chewing my food. I have no say in what a woman does with her body, so I don't know how these lawmakers are going in to make those decisions or why they're doing that. I know what the Republicans are trying to do, because now that the Supreme Court said that they will reconsider hearing the cases for these abortion laws, is why they're trying to pass them ad nauseum, so that way they can, they're hoping that the Supreme Court will rule in their favor. So they're all just trying to pass these laws because for whatever reason they claim to be pro-life, but they're not. They're pro-birth. Because once that child is born, they don't give a damn what happens to it. And that's how many of our children get caught up in the system, because they're not properly cared for by, not saying they're not cared for in their homes, but their government does nothing to ensure them they have a providing home that they can grow up in.
And that's the crazy thing. Like, I saw this tweet. It was basically saying, so what you're basically saying is that, for example, a 16-year-old can say, oh, yeah, I want to have a child. But you'll basically say, no, you're too young. Mm-hmm. You're too young. But if she was to get raped and somehow get pregnant, you'd be like, oh, well, she's fine. She can still take care of it. Like, you see the confusion there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she'll be fine. She'll be able to take care of it.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's
You see the that's really contradicting.
Mm-hmm. I can't call it. I can, but I'm just so disappointed in America right now. As much as just everything that's been going on and whatnot, motherfuckers just want to continue to ruin people's lives, by thinking that imposing these laws will ensure a safe and better America, and not realizing what the consequences behind those actions are. And that goes down to voting laws, abortion laws. Republicans just in general have been very, very, very distasteful. And I'm trying to be kind here by using that word, because I could say a whole bunch of other shit, but that's neither here nor there. So with that, I think we've caught up to that portion. Did anybody see the video of Coi Leray performing in Texas, or performing in Houston? Oh, Law, you look like you haven't seen it yet.
What the scene?
No, hold on. Let me see if I can find that video. I don't know how to best phrase this without sounding mean. I fully believe that Coi Leray is an industry plant. I'm not saying that she's not talented, because I really don't know the extent of her talent. But just from some of the songs that I've heard, I'm like, huh? What? I personally don't like her music. Some people might like No More Parties, and that's fine. but I personally do not like that her as an artist. So of course she performed in Houston, and for those who didn't see that video, I encourage you to watch it. Like you'll see. Hang on, she's about to show Law the video, but yeah, it's. Oh. I'm gonna let him watch it.
I heard crickets.
Just
Not a soul moving.
not a soul, bruh. Like literally just standing there watching her, like, huh? And maybe it's a song that was not familiar to her, but whatever the case may be, I just that being said, she ranted on Twitter and whatnot. Not on Twitter, on Instagram, excuse me. And then people were giving her encouragement on Twitter. Honestly, as an artist, I understand how that could be, that could be detrimental to you, because you want to see and you want to perform and share your art, and then when people react the way that they do and you see that it's not the reaction that you wanted, it's not, that can take a toll on a person. So I do hope that she gets the encouragement that she needs. That being said, I'm just not a fan. And I'm surprised that people, I don't know if they were there to see her or somebody else, but I honestly, it's just the music is not entertaining to me. I know that hip hop cannot be placed in one genre of hip hop. Like, it's why you have multiple subgenres. Some subgenres are, I don't know. It's just not, there are certain artists that can pull off the genre that Coi Leray is in, and she herself cannot. That's just my personal opinion. Now, you might think different out there. I don't know. But that's just how I see it. I just don't think that she's a good artist whatsoever.
I know Nicki has some encouraging words for her.
Yeah, I saw that. And again, if that's what you like, cool. It ain't my taste. It's not what I'm going to be ordering off my menu as far as hip hop. I'm just saying, like, and that's just how I feel. I do hope she gets the encouragement that she needs. But you can tell when an artist is, like, really good and when they're really not. And, when it comes to her art specifically, I just don't care for it. Now, if you're out there body shaming her like a few people were a couple weeks ago, I have a problem with that. That's an entirely different subject. But
they were body shaming her?
Yeah, because of how skinny she is. Like, she's small. Oh, yeah, shit. They were just, I don't know why they were doing it, but they just were. And I'm just like, yo, y'all can't be doing that, man. Like, y'all.
But I feel like that's the thing with cancel culture. Like, they have to find something wrong. Like, there's something has to be wrong. Like, that's just with social media in general. Like, people will find something wrong regardless. It's in front of you. It will be in front of you regardless. Like.
And the thing is just that too many black people, too many black women especially, have, been targets of body shaming. We can talk about, how Lizzo is targeted all the time, as well as Coi Leray. But I just personally, I feel as though you should let people live in their truth and let them, make decisions on their own about how they want to look and how they feel about their own bodies, because it ain't my body and it ain't got nothing to do with me. So,
right. Because if somebody was to turn around and call you this, that, and the
I'm saying,
if somebody was to turn around and call you a motherfucker, something crazy.
Yeah. I'm liable to throw hands.
You would have been like, right. See, and that's the crazy thing. Like, people will throw shots, but then when it's directed right back at them, they're like,
Yeah, just like, hey, yo, if you can't take it, don't dish it out. But people will do it regardless, whatever the case may be. But other than the body shaming part, as far as Coi Leray's music, I think it stinks. That's just me. But again, I'm not a fan of that kind of hip hop anyway. and I'm gonna find it mid regardless, or less than mid. I don't know. I just don't think that her as an artist is going to appeal to a lot of people. But if she can find her niche, cool. You know, do what she has to do to be successful, and I hope that she gains encouragement from this experience. If that's the music that you want to make, I guess. Let me let Benzino daughter live, because Benzino himself was. I wouldn't even call Benzino on one.
No, that was Benzino's daughter.
Yes.
I was shook. I said, "What the fuck? When
And
when did he have a daughter?"
Mm-hmm. But I mean, Benzino like 50 something. So, yeah. I mean, Benzino only had one track that I remember. And it wasn't that big of a hit. And the only reason why I remember his song is because of NBA Street Volume 2. Like, that was the only reason how I remembered Benzino ever even had a song. But I knew that he was in the industry for a long period, not just as an artist. I mean, he was doing other things as well. I think he was more like, he was on the corporate side, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, him as a rap artist... No, absolutely not. Let me see if I can find that song. I'm gonna play it real quick just in case. This joint came out in like 2001 or 2002, one of them two.
Oh, I was still in elementary. Not even elementary. Middle school. No, not even middle school. Goddamn, we was in elementary in this time.
I was gonna say I was in middle school or going into middle school when the song first came out. Yeah, that was his song, his one song that got like maybe moderate radio play. But again, I'd heard it playing NBA Street Volume 2 so much that I knew what the song was and I knew who the artist was. But anyway, yeah, and enough about Coi Leray and her dealings. Before we wrap up this pod, I just want to check to see if anybody in this room, you know, what their expectations are for the upcoming year. It could be about this pod, it could be about you personally, whatever the case may be. What do you see happening in the future? Don't nobody speak at once.
Okay, I'll go first. For me, it's just personally, you know, we elevating. Girls turning 25.
Hey.
So we're elevating a little bit more than just a year. I've learned a lot. I've been able to grow a lot within these months. So within this next year, I'm trying to make a major transition. Like, I'm really in the mode of trying to get myself out to Atlanta. So like, we in transition mode for real.
Word. Oh, you got anything?
Just, you know, that was a good play. Just finding time to lock in and find inner peace. You know, both in the pod and out.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be key because I foresee, you know, not hard times coming up, but, you know, series that are gonna, you know, interfere with elevation.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. That's a great way to say that. For me, obviously, it's gonna be some transitioning portions to this because, one, I'm not gonna be in the same neighborhood probably come August. I don't know, you know, where I'm going to be within the next couple of months. Obviously, we'll see what happens. But I'm expecting at least the pod to continue to grow, that we continue to have more interviews, that we continue to have more business dealings, that we're able to get more marketing efforts out, and just become stronger in general, regardless of whether we're in the same space or whether we're far apart or whatever the case may be. We will find a way to make this all work, to make this one of the greatest pods streaming. That's my goal. That is my goal. So, of course, we're going to try to do our best to put more money into this thing. That's all I had for at least the short-term goals and everything. Obviously, the year is, we're halfway through the year now. So there are some things that, of course, me being 30 now, that I am taking into account, taking account to health. I'm taking account to wealth, obviously, now. Making sure that my grandparents are good, my mom is good. Making sure that my brother is still good. I mean, and of course, checking in on my father, checking in on my sister and my niece and nephew. I want to be sure that my whole family is good to go, while also continuing to grow as a man, as a human being, and as a black man in such of a society that we live in. Continuing to, of course, work on my inner peace and to keep God first in all things. Making sure that I reroot myself within the word, because there were times that I wasn't as focused in the word like I used to be. So I'm trying to get refocused in that, making sure that I know the path that God has set for me. And I think that's really all that I can think of right now. There's so many things that I could talk about as far as what my expectations are, but the natural thing, of course, is to grow the pod and to make this thing work. So with that being said, I think this is a good time to sign off. Real quick, shout out to Panda. She called me toxic adjacent this week. I don't know what that means. I'm not toxic, man. I'm not toxic. I'm just chaotic, but I guess that's probably what she meant. She was like, you're toxic adjacent, because of a comment that I said on Twitter. So I'll take that. I'm gonna add that to my intro. The calculated millennial, aka the Cutlass Diamond, aka the toxic adjacent king. It's gonna be part of the new intro. Thank you, Panda, for giving me that material. I'm gonna probably copyright it before you can. So yeah. All right. With that in mind, any black businesses or black podcasts that y'all want to shout out?
Nothing out of the usual.
Nothing out of the usual. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's anything out of the usual that I might have missed last week. Oh, let me go ahead and do this. First and foremost, shout out to Kay the Bookworm, aka Kay Renee, and her podcast, Brutal Honesty with Kay Renee. She has reached her 2-year anniversary as of last week. So definitely congrats to her. Definitely be sure that you check out her book, Close to You. I have my copy. So far, I am enjoying it. I highly recommend that you read this or go buy it. You can buy it on Amazon. Go buy it on Kindle. It's a very, very cheap buy. For physical copies, I'll point y'all in that direction. You can follow her at KTheBookworm _ on all social media. And then you can follow her pod's Instagram. I believe it's BH with K Renee. So Brutal Honesty with K Renee. You should be able to find it on Instagram and on Twitter. So with that in mind, of course, shout out to the session 75 with Jay and Trey. I know Jay had some things to take care of, so it was Trey and Kia who were doing the last episode. Also, shout out to Kia, who just graduated. I don't know what other degree she got, but that girl stayed graduating from somewhere. So I appreciate Kia for, continuing to get her education. Also, shout out to her podcast, Mofo Truth. Shout out to Truth and Transparency podcast with my boy Malcolm. As always, shout out to Bland May Podcast. I am a Patreon of Bland May Podcast, so be sure that you check that out. Shout out to Unbothered Mike and Sine. Shout out to Worst Generation Podcast, as always, all 9 of y'all. But especially shout out to Panda for being able to join us for the 2 episodes this season. We appreciate her heavily. Please be sure that you go follow her on all social media. You can check that out from the previous episode. Also, be sure that you check out Worst Gen Pod on Twitter. And be sure that you go and listen to them on all streaming platforms. That's Worst Generation Podcast, especially if you're an anime head. Also, be sure that you check out Blanime Podcast as well. Shout out to Black Anime. Shout out to Spicy Lady. Shout out to Inside the Mind of a Blurred. I'm really trying to think of all these podcasts that I'm affiliated with or at least talk to. There's a lot. Shout out to Talk No Jutsu. Anime Lately. Dang. I've been fully invested myself into some of these podcasts. Oh, shout out to Soul For Real with my boy Onaji and his lovely partner Raquel. You can definitely check them out on YouTube. And also shout out to Relatable versus Debatable. Y'all, you know who y'all are. Charvon, Sappy, and Heitai. Please be sure that you continue to support them as well. With that, I think it is time to sign off. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for joining us for our 1-year anniversary. Please be sure that you pay attention to our social media platforms because we are doing a giveaway. I was going to name a winner this week, but I'm thinking let's save it to next week and for next episode. So I have a $100 gift card that I am giving away if you can answer the question in my story on Instagram. Not my personal story, but the pod story. Answer the question. Your name will go in a drawing. I'll get a random number generator. We'll have a drawing for it, and whoever wins gets the gift card. See if y'all really listening to us and helping us celebrate. It's a good time, man. We made it through 1 year. So I'm feeling generous. And I want to be sure that I show my appreciation to anybody out there who is listening. So please be sure that you pay attention to the pod's Instagram as well as the pod's Twitter. So that way you can see the question when asked, and then your name will be entered into a drawing from there. So with that, be sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Chaotic Culture Podcast. Be sure that you like and follow us on Facebook at Chaotic Culture Podcast. Please be sure that you follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow us on Twitter at chaotic_culture and on Instagram at chaotic culture pod. You can follow me, Ked the Pro, that's K3D the Pro, on all social media. You can follow Miss Nasa on all social media at _callmenasa, and you can follow Law on Twitter at law96_, and you can follow him on Instagram at l.jr_96. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, once again for your support. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for just being here for this year journey. And we got a ways to go, God willing. This thing is going to be a platform for more discussions about our culture, how to navigate it, and how to enjoy it. And I can honestly say, and from my vantage point, that this truly is something that I want to do for the long run. And I hope to take this platform far as it'll let me take it, and as far as God is willing to take me. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for our 1-year anniversary. Thank you once again for tuning in to another edition of the Chaotic Culture Podcast. This has been Ked the Pro, Law, and Nasa. Be blessed, be safe. God is love. Deuces.
Look, it's chaos in these streets, so let's talk about it, please. Let's hold some conversation. You see where I'm coming from. Yes, it's so amazing. Go ahead, get comfortable. You can grab a seat, take a load off your feet. Yeah, welcome to tell no lies over here, this ain't no fable. We just live our lives over here, we ain't no angels. We just shine our light over here, we got the power, we just showing love over here. Cause everybody needs some, yeah, and we don't need a reason. Everybody needs some, and we don't need a reason. Cause
we're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic culture. We're living in a chaotic